Hello. Like wall paintings, painted windows in medieval churches served a range of purposes. They were there to beautify, to inform, to educate and guide, to commemorate and to illustrate stories from the Bible and scenes from the lives of saints. They're not only pictorial, the technique allows for script, which is useful when literacy increases. And stained glass windows are popular today as a way of commemorating loved ones or celebrating memorable events such as the millennium. They're decorative, of course, but they're also functional in the way that they filter light and control glare. There is no record of stained glass before the Christianisation of the Roman Empire in the 4th century. Secular use develops, but it is essentially a Christian art form. Now, glass can be coloured during its manufacture by adding minerals to the basic ingredients of silica and potash. That's called pot glass, which can then be cut and assembled like a mosaic to create a picture. Most early work is pot glass, and in this country it was imported from Normandy, the Loire Valley and the Rhineland. Fragments of glass recovered during an archaeological dig at Monk Wearmouth, Jarrow in 1972 have been reset in St Paul's at Jarrow, and it's thought to date from around 700, which makes it quite possibly the oldest ornamental glass not only in Britain but anywhere in Western Europe. At All Saints Church, Youlgreave in Derbyshire, a window in the north aisle contains fragments of medieval glass that was rescued during World War I from the ruins of Ypres Cathedral and other Flanders churches. It was collected by Charles Waterhouse, who then used it to have a memorial window created for his brother who was killed at Gallipoli in 1915. St Oswald's Church at Ashbourne has got fragments of pot glass that date from the consecration of the church in 1241, remounted in the 1870s in Victorian grisaille quarries. And elsewhere at St Oswald's there is medieval heraldic fragments that have been mixed with medieval grisaille. And grisaille, you get this from a French word gris for grey, it's glass with a delicate pattern, usually foliage, that's painted onto either white or green tinted square or diamond shaped quarries, and the result is a monochrome low relief effect, and it's used where a little more light was required or perhaps where cost was a consideration, and the Victorians produced grisaille for restoration projects. Mostly what we're talking about when we say stained glass is painted glass, some painted directly with enamels, but the best results are obtained by using powdered metal oxides and ground glass mixed in a medium. That medium might be oil or vinegar or a very sloppy pipe clay, and in the medieval period urine was often used. And the resulting paste applied to the glass before firing in a kiln, and the colour appears during the firing process, which fuses the colour into the glass. And the temperature of the kiln, the length of the soak all influence the result, and some windows might require several firings. And then details such as facial features can be added directly, and a range of tools are used including quills, styli and brushes of various sizes. The earliest domestic glass tends to be predominantly yellow, olive or brown, colours obtained from using silver salts and yellow ochre. This fragment, which is now set high up in the Shirley Aisle at Breedon Church in Leicestershire, dates to around about 1310. But by the late medieval period, in this country we are producing glass of very high quality. The finest medieval glass in York, outside of the Minster, is in All Saints Church in North Street. And at the east end of the North Aisle there is a window based on a poem, The Prick of Conscience. It's a sequence of events that show the 15 signs presaging the end of the world. Dates to around about 1420, and it reads from bottom left to top right. We see the seas rise and monsters appear. Of a similar 1420s date, there is a window showing the orders of angels, which includes an individual carrying a pair of glasses. This is the earliest depiction of a pair of spectacles in England. There's also a window which shows 6 of the 7 corporate acts of mercy. It's based on Jesus' doctrine of the sheep and the goats, clothing the naked, giving hospitality to strangers, caring for prisoners, feeding the hungry, giving drink to the thirsty, and visiting the sick. Missing from the list for some reason is burying the dead. Now, windows like these were not cheap, and the most likely donor was either Nicholas Blackburn Sr. or Nicholas Blackburn Jr. They were among the richest merchants in York. Nicholas Sr. served as mayor in 1413 and his son in 1429. And the bearded figure who is performing the acts in the window is probably one of the Nicholas Blackburns. As with wall paintings, much stained glass was lost at the Reformation or destroyed by the Puritans during the Civil War. And glass from the cloister at Dale Abbey in Derbyshire, dating to the 1480s, was rescued when the abbey was dissolved by Sir Henry Sacheverell, a Catholic recusant, and it was installed in a purpose-built aisle at nearby St Matthew's Church, Morley. The windows were shuttered on the outside to protect the glass, and I think quite likely also to prevent prying eyes from witnessing Catholic Mass being secretly celebrated. And the windows tell the story of St Helena discovering the true cross in Jerusalem, and also the legend of Robert of Knaresborough. Now, next time I'm going to look at how stained glass experienced a significant revival in the 19th century. If you've enjoyed this video, hit the like and subscribe buttons and click on the notification bell to be informed when the next video is available. Or you can subscribe by clicking on the rose window over my shoulder.